Hello, welcome to Clickly. Today, we're going to introduce how to make an NPC chat system. An NPC is a non-player character that is not controlled by the players in the game. Generally speaking, NPCs are the characters controlled by the game itself, rather than players. They are generally friendly, or at least not hostile towards the players. They serve a number of purposes in games, including advancing the storyline, partners to the players, save points, item stores, health regeneration points, and so on. Interacting with NPCs is a widely used game mechanic. In this tutorial, we will achieve the effect of talking to the NPCs. The player will be able to approach or click to have a dialogue with NPCs. The player can also close the dialogue and interact with other NPCs at any time. First, let's do a quick breakdown of the project. The NPC chat is achieved using UI integrated with triggers. And usually, there are multiple NPCs in a game. We don't want to make a separate UI for each NPC. Instead, we use the same UI template for all the NPCs, not only for convenience, but also for consistency. Therefore, the chat UI will not include detailed information of any specific NPC. It will read and display the corresponding information according to the NPC that involves in conversation. Then, as we want the players to be able to interact with the NPCs in multiple ways, we need to customize a function to notify the program to display the chat UI when players approach or click the NPCs. Lastly, we need to ensure that the UI will not be triggered repeatedly. For example, when I approach NPC 1, the chat UI of NPC 1 will pop up. At this time, if I click NPC 2, the chat UI of NPC 2 should not pop up as we are already in a conversation. According to our needs, we need to break down the functions into 3 parts: UI content reading and display, unified entrance for NPC chat, and a lock to ensure thread safety. Now, let's see how to achieve these functions. The first part is UI content reading and display. First of all, we need to set all the NPC's chat content in Object Editor. We can add a custom attribute, talk, and store the content for each NPC. We also need to design the chat UI. It should at least include a background, an icon of the NPC, text, and an exit button. Then, the chat UI needs to be able to read and display the correct information. We can custom a function, write unit information, with a parameter NPC to achieve this. Set 2 variables to get the icon image ID and the dialog content talk we preset. Then, set the UI widget icon and talk text using the 2 variables. In this way, when we call this function later and specify the NPC, the corresponding icon and dialog content of this NPC will be obtained and displayed on the chat UI. The second part is unified entrance for NPC chat. This means when players approach or click any NPCs, the program will be notified and run in the same path. So, we custom a function, trigger NPC chat, to pack the path and command the hero to talk to the NPC. Then, we call the function write unit information to write the NPC information to the chat UI and display it to the player. We also need to set the exit button. Create a Boolean variable, switch, to record the state of the button. When the UI event exit is triggered, we set switch to be true, which represents the button is pressed. Then, in function trigger NPC chat, we need to check the distance between the hero and the NPC every second, using a looped timer. If the distance is greater than 500, it means the player moves away. We prompt a message too far away to the player, remove the timer, and turn off the chat UI. If the player is still near the NPC, we also need to check the state of the exit button. If the Boolean variable switch equals true, it means the exit button is pressed. The player want to exit the chat. We remove the timer, turn off the chat UI, and reset the state of the button, that is, setting the variable switch to false. In this logic tree, we use all of the three structures, sequences, selections, and loops to achieve a complicated function. The function is almost done. Now, we need to set the triggers of the approach event and click event. When the hero unit controlled by the player enters the area of one NPC, we call the function trigger NPC chat to talk to the NPC. When the player selects a unit on the map, we need to compare the unit first. The unit in the event should not be the hero unit controlled by the player. If the condition is met, we need to make sure that the player reselects the hero unit first. Then, we would like the interaction happen only when the hero unit is in a certain range of the NPCs. So, we check the distance between the event unit, that is the NPC, and the hero unit. If the distance is less than 400, we use the function to command the hero unit to talk to the NPC. Otherwise, we can prompt, "It's too far away." The last part is to lock to ensure thread safety. The player can only be involved in one and only one conversation with an NPC. To achieve this, we can go back to the function trigger NPC chat and add a condition before write information and display the chat UI. Create a Boolean variable, chat state, to keep track of the chat. True means the player is ready in a conversation. If chat state equals true, we prompt, "You are already in a conversation." If it equals false, it means the player is available for a new conversation. We write NPC information, display the chat UI, and set chat state to be true. In addition, in the loop timer, when the player moves away and clicks the exit button, we need to add an action to set chat state to be false as the chat ends. It's all set. Let's test the effect. Now, it's time to review what we learned today. Today, we introduced how to make an NPC chat system. We can approach the NPC or click the NPC in a certain range to talk to him. We can click exit or walk away to end the chat. We also introduced how to set a lock to ensure thread safety. When a large number of operations of the same type emerge, we need to find the common points in these mechanisms and use these non-common points as parameters to encapsulate the structure. It is an indispensable part of game development. Here, we take the NPC chat system as an example to demonstrate how to use encapsulation in game production. Encapsulation can also be used in many places, such as the application of likability in text adventure games in multiple branches, the bullets of different firearms in TPS, and the damage system. Thanks for watching. See you next time.